Today we take grammar. We continue chapter 12. The modifiers. The chapter is modifiers. Modifiers, as we know, modifiers is to modify a word, okay? In this chapter, we started it by comparative and superlative. We took how to compare between two things and how to compare between one among many. If we compare between two things, we use the comparative form. If it's one syllable word, so the word is compared by adding ER when it's in the comparative or adding EST. If it's more than one syllable, sometimes I add ER or sometimes I add more or AST or most in the superlative case in up to the word itself. Okay, if it's more than two syllables, I have to add more in the comparative and most in superlative. More is more than, superlative is the best. And then we took irregular forms of comparative and superlative, like if I want to say two, one of them is good, I say the other is better. Or, okay, and the third one is the best of them. He is bad, the other is worse. The third of them is the worst. Okay, and
we took this lesson.
I know. I'm revising.
Oh, okay.
Okay, then he took me to irregular comparison. Irregular comparison is when I compare a day to someone, or a music to someone. Like I care about, I love teaching more than Jane. It means I love teaching more than I love Jane. So he said, no, you have to show it. Okay, I love teaching more than Jane does. So I love teaching more than Jane loves teaching. And then we reached the, and then he told me about the double negative, that I do not use double negative. I don't say I do not barely go to school. I either say I do not go to school or I say I barely go to school. I do not use two negatives. Then it took me to this, to today's lesson, which is the most important lesson. And for those who take SAT, it always come in the SAT. There is no SAT test without this question. It is dangling modifiers. We took it the misplaced modifiers, we took it previous time, misplaced modifiers and dangling modifiers. The misplaced modifiers and dangling modifiers, I put them again today into a PowerPoint presentation here. I took the misplaced modifier again. Can you see the PowerPoint, girls?
Yes.
Yes.
The misplaced modifiers. To modify a word, we took a previous time, but I want to repeat it today with the dangling modifiers. To modify a word that is different from the one it is meant to modify. Okay, we know that the participial phrase comes at the beginning of the sentence. If it comes at the beginning of the sentence, it is followed by a comma, and then comes after it the subject. So, smiling with delight here, the trophy was handed to Jenny. Smiling with delight, trophy, the trophy. Was a smiling with delight? Of course no. Who was a smiling with delight? Janine. So I have to change it. I have to bring Janine closer to the participial phrase which works as an adjective. Its function is an adjective. As we know, participial phrase functions as an adjective. So I take Janine and put it to smiling with delight. So either I have to bring them together close. Either I take smiling with delight at the end, or I take Janine to the beginning. Smiling with the trophy was handed to Janine, who was smiling with delight. This is correct. Or smiling with delight, Janine was handed the trophy. From the ocean floor, Andy gave me a seashell. Here, if I read it from the ocean floor, it means that Andy was at the ocean floor, but actually the seashell is from the ocean floor. So I have to bring them close together. Andy gave me a seashell from the ocean floor. Here. Check the word that, always check that the word only modifies the word you really intend to modify. Only the word you intend to modify. Place only before the word or phrase it modifies. I only play tennis on Tuesdays. Okay, here it means that on Tuesday I only play tennis. Okay, I play tennis only on Tuesday means I only play tennis on Tuesday, but I do many other things, but I play tennis only on Tuesday. An error or standardized test item may appear in the form of misplaced or dangling modifier. Okay, here. Kate Hudson began acting at a young age, being Glody Hawn's daughter. This is incorrect sentence. Kate Hudson began acting at young age. Being Goldie Hawn's daughter, what and it is not correct. Being Goldie Hawn's daughter here is so far away of Kate, and Kate Hudson being Goldie Hawn's daughter is for Kate Hudson. How can I repair it, Yani? Which one is correct? Look at them, girls, and tell me. Kate Hudson began acting at a young age, being Goldie Hawn's daughter. This lesson is important, girls, so please focus with me. Or Kate Hudson began acting at a young age and she was Goldie Hawn's daughter. Kate Hudson, who as Goldie Hawn's daughter began acting at a young age. Being Kate Hudson, Goldie Hawn's daughter began acting at a young age. Kate Hudson, Goldie Hawn's daughter began acting at a young age. Which one is easier? Which one is correct and then easier and more clear to communicate? The last one, why?
It's using an appositive.
So here. The misplaced modifier in the sentence is fairly obvious, which is being Goldie Hawn's daughter. This is the modifier. It functions as an adjective. It's clearly meant to describe Kate Hudson, not of course a young age. However, there is no answer choice that places the modifier next to what it is modifying. So we need to narrow down the choices with process of elimination. So what am I doing here? I'm answering SAT questions. These are SAT questions, and dangling modifiers and misplaced modifiers are, they have to come in the SAT test or ACT test or any tests. Dangling modifiers and misplaced modifiers. Why? Because they are not easy to be spot. They are not easy to be spot. Okay, so we said that A, which is the same as the original sentence, is wrong. We can eliminate C2 because it's a fragment here in C. Kate Hudson, who as Goldie Hawn's daughter began acting at a young age, cannot be. So B and D and E are all grammatically correct. When you say teacher, I have two choices and the two choices are correct. So B, D, and E are grammatically correct. So we need to pick the clearest and most concise answer. B is incorrect because it makes the sentence much longer than it needs to be by splitting it into two independent clauses. So there was no need to split it into two independent clauses. When I say Kate Hudson began acting at a young age and she was Goldie Hawn's daughter, why you split it into such compound sentence? No. Describing Kate Hudson as Goldie Hawn's daughter makes sense. D doesn't work because the word order is confusing. When I describe her as Goldie Hawn's daughter makes sense, but describing Goldie Hawn's daughter as Kate Hudson doesn't. Here, when being Kate Hudson, Goldie Hawn's daughter began, doesn't function well and it doesn't sound easy. But Kate Hudson, Goldie Hawn's daughter here, a positive, began acting at a young age. Okay, here. We come to the dangling modifiers. Dangling modifiers is important, as I said. The previous one is misplaced modifier. Misplaced modifier, there is a modifier and there is a noun to be modified, but it is in the wrong place. But dangling modifier, a modifier is considered dangling. You know what is dangling? I'm making like this, dangling. When the sentence is not clear about what it is being modified. What is being modified? I don't find what is being modified. I find a modifier, but I don't know what does it modify. Like when I say the big what? Here I have the modifier. Big is a modifier. I have it. But it modifies what? Doesn't make sense without telling what is big, which leaves big as dangling modifier. Dangling modifier, it has no word to refer to. Having read the book, the film will be a hit. Okay, who did that? Here, the film will be a hit is a sentence, is a clause, an independent clause. The film will be a hit. Okay, having read the book modifies whom? Who haven't or have read the book? Who? So how I correct it? I add I think the film will be a hit, and I fix it, of course, because I can say I the film will be a hit. So having read the book, I or he or she thinks the film will be a hit, because having read the book refers to I or he or she or any subject here. A dangling modifier is a modifier, again, a word or phrase, okay? It doesn't modify anything in the sentence. It misses the word or words, or it intends to modify or can possibly modify. No modifier. No, there is a modifier, but no modifying word. Helping a lady find her children. Left the station. The train left the station. Helping a lady find her children. The train helped a lady find her children? Of course, no. The train cannot help a lady, and there is nothing else else that can do except human. So the modifying phrase does not have anything to modify. So helping a lady find her children, I saw the train leave the station. While I was helping a lady find her children, the train left the station. Here, how to correct this. So dangling modifier, when there is a modifier without the word it modifies. Let's look at this sentence. This question, this was the all sad form here. He underlined it like this, and he asks you to choose the error. But the new one is he asks you no change any under each other. On her most recent vacation to Istanbul, Jal stumbled upon a fantastic jewelry shop walking through the massive market. On is wrong, or most recent is wrong, or stumbled upon, or walking wrong, or no error. Grade 11.
Yes.
Yes.
Which one is wrong?
No one.
Reading through the sentence, you may not immediately notice anything incorrect. It is correct. In fact, it seems just fine. But before picking A, before you go to no error, we need to check each of the other underlined portions. On is preposition, correct. Most recent is superlative, it is correct. Okay? Stumbled upon, correct. A fantastic jewelry shop. Walking through the massive market, a fantastic jewelry shop. Walking, the jewelry shop was walking. So this leaves only D, walking, when a gerund is underlined. It's a gerund, underlined. You must check placement. Is the modifier next to the noun that is walking? I find my friend walking in the street. So my friend was walking in the street. But can you find a jewelry shop walking on the street? So walking here is wrong. Some dangling modifiers used in everyday speech are acceptable as introductory phrases, like generally speaking. When I say generally speaking, this, or strictly speaking, considering the alternative. To tell the truth, these are introductory phrases. Introductory phrases, and then I add comma and continue the sentence. To be perfectly frank, generally speaking, cats make good pets. Okay? Generally speaking here, generally speaking, of course, not the cats. Cats make good pets, but cats here is not modified, but generally speaking. Generally speaking is an introductory sentence, like a phrase, sorry. Like, however, okay, but it comes in a form of because it's ing, so it's a modifying, the word comes after a teach. No. It is introductory phrase, like to be honest, okay, to tell the truth. to be perfectly frank, so it doesn't modify. Cats can speak, so the phrase generally speaking is technically a dangling modifier. It is technically a dangling modifier, but for daytime everyday speech it is acceptable. For issue of complex of or contested usage, consult a reference such as Merriam-Webster's Dictionary of English, usage of Garner's Modern American Usage. This is Merriam-Webster's dictionary is, we can say, the authorized or the, yes, the most trusted dictionary used. Okay, look at this sentence. This question is a form of SAD, the section of writing. Spread by rat fleas, millions of people in medieval Europe were killed by bubonic plague or plague. Spread by rat fleas, millions of people. So millions of people. So people in the medieval Europe were killed by this plague. So they spread. They were spread by rat fleas. Rat and fleas. Rat and fleas are insects live on rats. Millions of people in medieval Europe were killed by, so it is the same one. Okay, let's look. And millions, so here spread by rat fleas, because here it's a phrase and then I add comma and, no comma and here it is to compound two independent clause, and this is not an independent clause, so B cannot function well. This led to killing of millions of medieval Europeans by bubonic plague. Okay, not okay, not doesn't also function well. Okay, because it starts with this and this is unclear pronoun. Okay, if we look here, the sentence begins with the modifier spread by the rat fleas, which suggests that there may be a dangling modifier. Okay, it tells you there will be a dangling modifier because spread by rat fleas, what was spread by rat fleas? The first step to determine what is the phrase described, it is definitely not millions of people in medieval Europe, so we can know there is a modifier error and can rule out 8. So 8 is wrong, and as we said, B is wrong because it starts with a conjunction instead of a noun, it's wrong, and C is wrong. So only D and E remaining. Bubonic plague in medieval Europe was why millions are so spread by rat fleas. Bubonic plague in medieval Europe was why millions of, but it is clear that bubonic plague is spread by rat fleas. Both answers are grammatically correct, but E is much easier. It is simpler and clearer. Spread by rat fleas, bubonic plague killed millions of people in medieval Europe, so this plague was spread by rat fleas. She was concerned. Are you with me, grade 11?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, this is not in your book. I brought it from outside because I know that it comes in the set. She was concerned about how Hank would react to the incident, but in searching his face, he did not seem to be at all embarrassed or troubled. Again, she was concerned about how Hank would react to the incident, but in searching his face, okay, we now know that when I find ing, which is functions as an modifier, an adjective, I have to focus. What does it explain? What does it modify? But in searching his face, he did not seem to be at all embarrassed or troubled. What is in searching her face? Let's figure out what's wrong with this sentence. It's a bit confusing because there is no obvious error. We can start by spreading the two independent clauses. Okay, separating the two independent clauses. So she was concerned about Hank. Okay. Okay, to make what's happening in the underlined portion clearer, she was concerned about how Hank would react to the incident. Okay, here she was concerned about how Hank would react to the incident and make it a dot. In searching his face, he did not seem to be at all embarrassed or troubled. So here make it another independent clause because we know that independent clauses are connected by comma but. So remove comma but and make it one independent clause, separate it and separate the other one. In searching his face, he did not seem to be at all embarrassed or troubled. So look at this. In searching his face, he did not seem to be at all embarrassed. Now it's clear that in searching his face is modifying a phrase. Is a modifying phrase. Here, in searching his face, comma, he did not, and it modifies here. So it currently describing Hank since he becomes immediately after the comma. So it modifies he here because he is after the comma. So in searching his face modifies he, as we are used to. Okay, but based on the context, we know that the person searching the face is actually she, not he. She was searching. And searching his face, she. It should be she. She is the one who is searching his face. So we have located the error. We can rule out A. So A is wrong. Okay. As well as D, which repeats the same error. So in searching his face, he, the same error. He searches? No, he doesn't search. I directly eliminated, and then I go to searching his face. He also I eliminated because now I understand. It is not he who searches, it's she. So I focus on B, D, and E. And then we can rule out A as well as D, which repeats the same error. Then I go to B, swaps out it. By searching his face, it showed that he was not, but okay, who modifies it? It doesn't solve the problem. It's still the person searching who is it. I want she. So it is either we have C or we have E. Okay? Okay. So B is also wrong. Now I have C and E. Okay. Here, if I look at E, his face being searched showed that he was not. It is not correct. Being is usually wrong. Needlessly wordy, being is usually wrong. So C is the correct answer. She was concerned about how Hank would react to the incident. And then I take the second sentence, in searching his face. Okay, you transfer it. A search of his face. So comma, but a search of his face showed that he seemed not at all embarrassed or troubled. Okay. The misplaced modifiers. This is, I repeat this slide. Because this is the Kate Hudson, this the example for the helpful set writing tips for the modifiers. Think about both what a modifier is currently describing and what it is actually meant to be describing. When I find a modifier, when I find a participial, a word ends in ing because it most of the time functions as a modifier. Participial phrase. Focus. What does it modify? Because usually you will find the error there. You will find the mistake of the question there. Watch out for answers that fix the original modifier issue but are ungrammatically as in another way. Remember that there are a lot of different ways to fix faulty modifier, which is misplaced modifier or dangling modifier. Use process of elimination to narrow down wrong answers as we did now, rather than focusing on one specific way of correcting the error. You will see these errors on the test and they are likely unfamiliar, so make sure to review and practice with similar questions from real sound. Okay, so by this we finished the whole chapter. Open with me lesson 5. So we finished misplaced modifiers previous time.
No,
Did we solve anything on? Yes?
we didn't finish it.
Okay, so I explained it, but we didn't solve, right?
We solved under number 6.
In what, dear? We didn't solve.
Misplaced modifier.
We explained misplaced modifier
Yes.
previous time.
Yes.
Yes, misplaced modifiers. Yes. Today I repeated it, but people. Okay, we stopped at number 6. We solved 6.
Yes, we solved it.
Okay, so start solving 7, dear.
Rufus only hides under the bed during a thunderstorm.
Here he talks about which rule. I have only, so it talks about which rule. Here, this one, Yanur.
That he doesn't do anything else.
Only place it before near the word it modifies, okay? So if I say Rufus only hides under the bed during a thunderstorms, it means
We
that he
say
is
it
the only
Rufus
one.
hides.
If I read this, it means he is the only one who hides under the bed when there is a storm. But if I fix it, Rufus, it will be what?
Can we say Rufus hides under the bed only during a thunderstorm?
Excellent. So he hides under the bed only during a thunderstorm. Excellent, Yanur. 8, Maya.
Miss.
Maya.
Yes, miss.
8. Page 229.
So, Lema.
Who can answer it till Maya prepare herself?
Miss, I'm reading.
Okay, huh?
Lemar, who has fewer time in his schedule.
8 in 229. Number 8 in 229.
Okay. Sarah drew a cartoon of a rhinoceros in her studio one day. A cartoon of rhinoceros in her was drawn by Sarah.
I have in her studio one day, okay, and it should be close to Sarah. It is misplaced modifiers because here it modifies Sarah. She was there in her studio.
Okay. A cartoon of Sarah drew.
So, okay, so I want to bring Sarah close to in her studio one day. Either to start with in her studio one day, like here.
Yes.
Or I bring it I want to bring it closer to it. Here. Either to bring it closer to here, to Sarah, or I bring Sarah closer to it. So what can I do?
Can I just replace one day and Sarah?
So in her studio one day, comma, Sarah drew a cartoon of rhinoceros.
Miss, can I solve number 9?
Yes, solve 9, Serena.
Loud and shrill. Max, turn off the car alarm. We will make it Max turned off the loud and shrill car alarm.
Excellent. I brought the modifiers close to car alarm. Okay, number 10, Sarah.
Can I solve?
Okay, please solve. Nirvana?
So it's gonna be Joe's parents took her to the Overlands at the age 12.
Excellent. Those parents took her to the Everglades. Yes, excellent, at the age of 12. So we come to 230. Editing a scene from a play. Okay. I will leave this to you to solve home, and then in the next period of grammar we will solve it together. Okay, because I need you to take time, and we do not have much time. So we solve the dangling modifier, page 231, exercise 11. Number 1, here I have a dangling modifier. I have a modifier with no where to modify. Okay, Sarah, number 1. Nancy? Taya? Serene? So Sarah, Nancy, Taya are absent.
Just sorry.
Yes, I've answered.
Taya?
Yeah,
You what, dear?
you called me.
Yes, answer number 1 on page 231.
Okay.
Tia? Nancy? Sarah? Marim? Lujain?
Yes, miss.
Yes, Marim, number 1.
Miss, I'm sorry, the mic wasn't working.
Okay, Tia, read it.
Yeah. After circling the stadium for an hour, a parking spot opened up near the west entrance.
Look, after circling the stadium for an hour, a parking spot opened up near the west entrance. After circling the stadium for an hour, a parking spot, so the parking spot circled.
No,
It's not. So we can do what, Tia? We can eliminate circling and write it easily. Write we circled. After we circled the stadium for an hour, a parking spot opened up near the west entrance. Because here, if I added I or he or we, after circling the stadium for an hour, a parking spot opened up near, I cannot even add I or he or she. So I have to fix it. So I add we circling. After we circled, I add a subject.
you won't correct anything in the other part of the sentence?
Yes, you can do anything you want as long as you can fix it. There are many ways to fix it. Like,
Can I answer question 2?
yes, girls, we are still on page 231. If you look at the examples he gave you, he say, walking home from school, the wind blew over a pine tree. We saw the wind blew over I can add something to the second clause which can makes it clear. So walking home from school, we saw the wind blow over the pine tree. And the corrected sentence number 2, and then struggling to complete the marathon, an ankle was sprained. Struggling to complete the marathon, I can add Greta sprained her ankle. I can add a subject and a predicate. Using DNA evidence, the suspect was proved innocent. DNA evidence proved that the suspect was innocent. So here I have to change the sentence. You can do whatever you want. Okay? 2, yes, Dima?
Stuck between the sofa cushions, he lost the remote control. He lost the remote control that was stuck between the sofa cushions.
Excellent. Excellent. He lost the remote control that was stuck between the sofa cushions, or he lost the remote control stuck between the sofa cushions. Yes, Mariam, please, number 3.
To tell the truth, my stereo is second-hand.
Here it is a little bit confusing. Here I am telling whom.
Yes.
Actually, Mariam, it can be correct. This sentence can be correct. If you want to make it more correct, you can say to tell you the truth.
Yes. To tell you the truth, my stereo is second-hand.
To tell you the truth, yes, my stereo is second-hand, or to tell the truth, it is my stereo second-hand. It can be accepted as correct and can be corrected and add to you. Number 4.
Can I solve it?
Yes, please. Who wants to solve?
Nirvana, miss.
Nirvana. Other girls are not here, especially those who take sad.
Yes, I want to solve Lujane.
Lean, Serene, Arwa, Harir. Where are you girls?
I'm here. I solved.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Nirvana, answer 4.
Yeah. Strolling along the beach this afternoon, the sunset. We can say we saw the sunset.
Strolling along the beach this afternoon, we saw the sunset. Excellent. Who can answer 5?
Jane.
Judy?
Can I
Okay.
answer?
Again, 2 girls are talking. Judy?
Jane.
Lujane. Okay, please, Lujane.
Bicycling up Tug Hill, the tire went flat. The tire went flat while I was bicycling up Tug Hill.
Yes, excellent. Or as I was bicycling up Tug Hill, my tire went flat. Excellent, Lujane. 6. Girls, 6. So can I solve 6?
Can I solve?
Yes, please.
By paying close attention to your surroundings, it is easy to write a good story. It is easy to write good story by paying close attention to your surroundings.
Yes, yes, yes. Or by paying close attention to your surroundings, also you should find it easy to write a good story. Excellent, dear. 7.
Can I solve?
Yes, please.
While walking in the woods, 2 long-eared owls flied overhead. Can it be correct?
We are in 7, dear.
Yes.
Or which one you're reading?
7.
Again?
While walking in the woods, 2 long-eared owls flied overhead.
Okay. While walking in the forest, I saw 2 long-eared owls flying overhead the last night, right? You took flying overhead last night after owls because it modifies owls, right?
It can't be correct.
It can't be correct. How do you mean?
Like, while walking in the woods, 2 long-eared owls fly overhead.
If you say while walking in the woods, 2 long-eared owls were flying. Who was walking in the woods? I was walking in the woods, so I cannot eliminate I.
Yes.
Okay, it is dangling modifier here because flying overhead last night, who were flying? The owls. So I have to bring flying overhead last night close to owls. Okay, so it will be I saw 2 long-eared owls flying overhead last night, or while walking in the forest. Excellent, as you said, I saw 2 long-eared owls flying overhead last night. We will stop here, girls, and we continue solving next time and with the chapter review and some. Okay? From now on, girls, I'll stop recording. From now on,